Hey, so this I'm making this video in response to Sky's video about depression and suicide in the trans community. Um, so if you're watching this, make sure. I mean, seeing as this is like a really intense and kind of heavy duty topic, just make sure you're kind of like okay to watch it, I guess, because I'm gonna be sharing my story and experience of and just journey of how I got to where I'm at now, both in my transition and just in life in general. So it's gonna be pretty personal. So yeah, just I guess heads up. So um, Sky mentioned a statistic in his video about 40% of trans folk will at some point in their life attempt suicide, and that really hit hard with me. Um, and I messaged him, and we talked, and he really encouraged me to kind of share my story. And I've been wanting to uh, for a while. I've made a couple of videos myself about my transition, and I didn't really know how comfortable I was talking about uh, everything that I've been through. Because like I said, I mean, obviously, like talking about being trans is pretty personal, but um, yeah. So he encouraged me to share my story. So I guess this is me doing that. Um, so about 3 years ago is when I started self-injuring. And at first it was like one, three, just a few here and there, and then it started becoming a daily thing for me. It was never bad enough to go need stitches or anything like that, but it was enough for people to notice, um, friends, teachers, my orchestra teacher is the one who actually said something to the guidance office in the first place. So after about 3 months of, constant self-injuring, pretending to the world as best as I could that everything was fine, is when so after 3 months is when I was first hospitalized. Just really bad depression and self-injury, and suicidal ideation. No attempts at that point, but so that happened. That was in November of my sophomore year. Um, and then in January, I was hospitalized again for the same thing, and then again in March. Um, that time it was for an actual attempt. So in total, my sophomore year, I missed 4 months of school, and everyone was like, "Where are you? Where have you been? What's happening?" And the people that I was closer with, and people that it affected, like my absence affected, like my softball team. I played both travel and high school softball, so they all knew for the most part, and obviously my teachers were aware of what was going on. So after my third hospitalization, I was told that if I needed to be hospitalized again, I would go residential, to a residential facility in Utah. And at that point, I was like, oh my God, this just got brought to a whole new level. I didn't want to miss, orchestra. Um, I didn't want to miss softball. I didn't want to miss school. So I, at that point, decided, okay, let's stop. Like, I'm gonna get things on track, and everything's gonna be fine. If I have to, I'll fake it till I make it. That sort of a thing. So, um, for about 4 months, I was not self-injuring. Things were all right. Everyone thought I was doing fantastically. On the inside, I knew I was still kind of not doing so hot, but behaviorally, I was fine, and that's to me at that point. That's what mattered. Then school ended, and that a lot of my support was there, so that was kind of hard. Um, but I made it. Everyone think I was fine. Got through the summer, that sort of thing. Junior year rolls around, and I was only there for about the first 3 weeks of school. Um, after that, I had another suicide attempt, and at first nothing was gonna happen. They're like, okay, um, you know, it's fine. You'll just keep going to school, that sort of thing. Um, and then, I told my therapist that I had been self-injuring throughout the summer, and I just didn't tell anyone because I didn't want to go anywhere. It was fine, it was nothing more than that. But obviously, with uh, the suicide attempt, that was a bigger deal. And so my parents made the decision to send me to Utah, and I was at a place called Island View, a little bit north of Salt Lake City, and I was there for about 6 months, doing the therapy and that sort of thing. And uh, after about 6 months, my parents made the decision to put me in a school in Chicago, seeing as it was geographically and financially a better choice, just because my school district said that they would pay for me to be there, and I live, suburbs of Chicago, so that was closer to home and that sort of thing. And that place was called the Orthogenic School, just O School for short. And I was there for almost a year and a half. I just got out this past May. Um, in my time there, I came out as trans. I made, when I got there, I had, the ponytail, was wearing makeup, all that stuff. And um, I cut my hair off. Picked a name, started using male restrooms. Meanwhile, I still was struggling with depression and anxiety, and self-injury was still an issue, and, um, all the other things that I struggled with, like, family relationships and family dynamic and just all that stuff, on top of knowing that I was trans, and being out about it. So, the O School did what they could to accommodate, my identity. Obviously, I couldn't, like, I was living in in a girls' dorm, um, and uh, eventually, like, I got to move into, like, my own room, but I couldn't be in a boys' dorm because of DCFS rules and that sort of a thing. But after some time there, I was allowed to start going by Carson and using male pronouns. Um, and they really helped. I mean, I don't know if I would have come out when I did, if I wasn't there. Like, they were super supportive of everything. But, so yeah, I have a couple of tattoos. I have one on my rib cage that says "Never Too Late," the 3 Days Grace song. Um, and obviously that is very personal to me. It also, my best friend showed me that song, so it kind of has to do with her as well. And also the phoenix on my shoulder. Um, that's for, you know, not only the rebirth and renewal and rising from the ashes and that sort of a thing, to do with my transition and just me in general, but also it was the name of my dorm at the O School, so it kind of ties in um, all those, like, that entire journey of basically like my high school. Um, so this has to be under 10 minutes, and I'm kind of getting up there in time, but um, so that's basically the gist of what I've been through. Clearly, or not clearly, but depression and anxiety will always be something I, have to battle. Um, I'm doing a lot better now. I'll have scars. Some of them will fade, some of them will last forever. Both figuratively speaking and, like, physically speaking. Um, but yeah, so that's basically um, kind of a not so quick overview of um, what I've been through. And if you have any questions, I'm really open to talking about it. And I don't mind talking about it at all. So yeah, I hope everyone's doing well, and thanks for taking the time to listen to this. All right, bye.